Dr. Jazz.
Where are you in? Are you in Helsinki or?
Jazz.
No, I'm in my name looks Finnish, but no, I'm in Slovenia.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Sorry, I didn't get that.
yeah. You ever played here, by the way? Not yet, right? I don't recall.
Actually, I'm going to play there in June at Maribor, I
Oh,
think.
that's my hometown.
Oh, really?
Oh man, we'll meet for a beer. Who are you playing with? What's the project?
I'm playing with my band Ibrahim Electric.
Really? Oh, I love that group.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Oh,
Good to
fantastic. On the festival, right? End of June,
Yeah,
probably.
I think we're going to play it on the 26th.
Okay, super. Oh, I'll definitely catch you. It's a
Yeah,
festival.
nice, nice
It's a nice
band.
venue. You like it, so it's a really nice venue by the river and quite cool.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Good to know.
fantastic. Okay. Wow, that's a coincidence now. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, great.
Wow. And so Ibrahim Electric is still alive? I mean, it's
Yeah, we've been playing together for 23 years now.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
Wow.
but it's still fun. We enjoy it.
Yeah, I have that album with Ray Anderson, what 2004 or something like that. That one, I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like that one. Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Okay. Looking forward to see you guys.
Yeah, we're looking forward to come. I never been to Slovenia, so
Well, beautiful. Ah, that's a nice. Well, that's nice. Now, okay. Now,
yeah.
I wanted to start this talk with your latest trio with Karsten and Frederick, and I listened to it yesterday, and I really like it, the Life in Denmark one.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
And what's the story? I know you go with Karsten a long way back, right? You played in
Yeah.
his band, and he's in yours. Like, what's the story of this trio? There's also like the lineup is a little bit different than the usual. There's no bass, and
No,
what's the idea? How did you form? And
my 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 um my idea was if we have to address the fact that there's no bass, is that I'm a drummer who generally likes to play actually without bass
yeah.
because when there's no bass, I don't fall into many cliches as a drummer. And that's it kind of pushes me to be a little bit, thinking out of the box
Yep.
as a drummer. You don't get the support from the bass, which is of course very nice. I love playing with bass players, and then um, but it's just so interesting to figure out how can you tell a story without the bass. And I have a very strong hvad hedder det, love actually. It's like to the playing of Frederick and Carsten. I think they're so strong
Yep.
storytellers
Absolutely.
as musicians. I just think they have a big heart and they have really something to say with their instruments. And every time I'm sitting and playing with these two guys, I have a feeling that I can do whatever I want. And that's
Mm.
the, I mean, I could push it into time. I could take it out of time. Seems like they always have some very, very mature and interesting approach to the way I want to play music.
Mm. Yeah.
And and to answer the question was why did I make that trio
Yeah.
or
I mean, I know you played in Carson's experience,
exactly? Yeah.
that group, which goes way back, I think. Like, but what's the story of you guys meeting actually with Karsten? I mean, I think he's your age, right, or slightly older?
Yeah, he's like 5 years older than
Older.
me.
Yeah, yeah,
And I have a pretty strong connection with Carsten because my godfather, Alex Riegel,
yeah.
Danish drummer, when I was like, I think 13 or 14 years old, Alex brought me to the conservatory in Copenhagen because he was teaching the drummers at
Yeah.
the conservatory. And one of the drummers was Carsten Dahl. So he was a drum student back then.
Really? I didn't know
Yes.
that. Wow. Okay.
No. So that's why we got a very early meeting when I was a teenager and Carsten was around 19, something like that. And then Alex always told me, there's a lot of good drummers at the conservatory, but the most interesting drummer is Carsten. He's a little crazy guy, but he's he's not crazy, you know what I mean? He was just
Yeah, yeah.
He's just
different.
a creative, he has so much energy and yeah. So, but then he changed to the piano, and then I always had a feeling that there was some kind of that Carsten was a musician I needed to play with, because I could do whatever I want. I could play within the jazz tradition. I could
Yeah.
play abstract, and he would always make some kind of he would make it he would make me feel at home everywhere I went.
Mm,
And that I know that he feels the same with me. That's why we've been playing together for 20 years also.
wow, that's all.
So but this trio was just to be able to play with two musicians that I really appreciate.
Mm, that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like this band leading part? I mean, how do you see in I've been a band leader also like 25 years now, and
Yeah.
of course there's pros and cons, and but how have you developed as a band leader if you look now? I mean, is it become easier or like
No.
no, right? Yeah,
It's
it's terrible.
band
No, it's
leader,
nice.
and what is that? It's so fucked up in many ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but
It's fun still also.
I still like what I enjoy most being a musician is to actually still is to create albums.
Me too. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm happy to hear that because it's it's endangered, right? It's an endangered art
Oh
form
man,
to
yeah.
create albums. Um, but it's still such a big joy for me to create those albums and being nerdy around the process of listening to improvisation. What do I like, what do I don't like,
Mm,
I like, every aspect of the creative process is something that I enjoy creating albums. So that's why I'm a band leader, I guess. I would
mm,
like to make those albums because I find it such a big joy.
mm. Do you still print physical copies or only?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and
Okay.
that's still the thing that makes the difference for me, that I'm able to make those vinyls and also
Mm,
CDs, to have that physical
yeah.
aspect. Still, that's the thing that does it for me.
Mm. Yeah, I'm the
And
same. It's just you sell them. I mean, of course, we have Bandcamp, which kind of helps now.
yeah,
But and you can sell them on gigs, but there's just the idea of yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of questioning the idea of I love making albums but
yeah.
just to make physical copies of everything, I do like also 5, 6 albums a year.
Oh yeah, okay. That's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So then I started like doing 3 only digital and 3 printing and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's also yeah, it's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky.
It's a
I
tricky one.
haven't found the right way to do it yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm still, I'm still searching for but what I have to be honest about is what feels right for myself. And I need to get away from the streaming platform soon. I
Yeah.
need to find something. I have been talking about this for years, but it's getting closer and closer.
Mm,
I'm just trying to figure out what exactly. And right now, maybe the right solution is right in front of us, Bandcamp. But
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's just I think to reach the younger generations, that's what I'm talking to my students. Like if I tell them about a guitarist or a drummer, and they
Mm,
immediately go to Spotify, and that's where they search, and they're like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
it's
But
just to reach the young people because when you have, you know yourself when you have a tour in Germany or
mm,
Austria or wherever, people buy CDs, but they are like
yeah,
over 60, those people who buy. So
yeah, yeah,
slowly they, won't come to concerts anymore, and then we're screwed in a way. So it's
yeah,
it's a question of
yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm asking these questions.
Somebody has to do something about it because it's also about music history, because the streaming platforms, they don't even get the music history right. There's so many mistakes and so many fake albums. Miles Davis did like 50 albums after he passed away,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
all that on Spotify, and I don't. And then you can find an album by Herbie Hancock, and it's from you know that it's from 73, but it's listed as 2015, and
Yeah.
those small mistakes that I just find it disturbing, really, because it's fucking with the music history.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's no musicians listed. I always love that, to see who's playing the instruments and
Exactly. I guess that's why you do these interviews, right? Because you
yeah.
like to read liner notes and who's
Oh
playing
man.
the bass on this album and all those things that we love,
Yeah, that's why we do that. Yeah, I think in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Alex Real. I wrote to you. I didn't know, first of all, that he's your godfather.
No.
Uh, but what's your story with Alex? I mean, he was the Danish drum legend, played with everyone. Like, how did you connect and your story with him?
Yeah, it's to make it very short. In the 60s, Alex was in a relationship with my mother.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Ah, wow. Okay.
Before I was born, and they had a relationship during all his time in Montmartre, in jazz club Montmartre,
Yeah.
with Dexter Gordon and Ben Webster and Savage Rose, the Danish rock band. And yeah, so but Alex and my mother, they kept a relationship all through their lives,
Mm.
and he was my godfather. And when I was 3 years old, he we were up in his house, and he had a drum set, and I was sitting on his lap playing the drums, and you could just see the joy in my face and he felt it. And for my next birthday, he gave me a drum kit,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
that was like the beginning of the whole thing. And then we've been the best friends my whole life.
Mm.
He just passed away this summer,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there was a yeah, that's difficult to have to accept that, that things stop, relationships stop, physically in this world,
Yeah.
but he's a fantastic he was a fantastic person in my life, and I both as a musician and as a friend.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. How was it for you in the beginning? Like when you went to study to the conservatory, like you said in Copenhagen,
Mm.
and who were the first guys you connected with? I mean, I know I know Jakob Andersko and
Mm.
Kresten and all these amazing guys who are from Denmark, and the Danish scene is like so, I think, creative now. The
Yeah.
last 20 years. But what were your beginnings? I know you had that trio with Ducret and uh, Liudas.
Ludas, yeah.
I love that band, man. I mean, I'm a guitarist, so I'm a huge
Yeah.
Ducret fan. But what were your beginnings entering the scene and band leading? And
Yeah, okay. It was yeah, I think when I joined the conservatory, my first early feelings of becoming a band leader was the fact that I was not so interested. I was not honestly interested in the jazz tradition,
mm,
because already before I joined the conservatory, I had been in several. I've been like a jam session drummer for like a steady gig every Sunday evening in Copenhagen in a small jazz club, and playing so many standards and so much jazz music that it was kind of I never felt in that part of my life that it was my music.
mm,
I was feeling that it was somebody else's music. It was the music of Alex. Alex Real.
his generation, yeah.
He was a part of it in the 60s. I felt I was a little bit on the side of it. I had to find my own way. So when I joined the conservatory, I just met all these amazing musicians, like you say, like Jakob Anderskov and Christian Osgood and Jeppe Gram and
Yeah.
Søren Kjærgaard and Ludas, of course, Ludas Mutskunas and Mick Queenan from Helsinki, and so many great musicians that are still on the, you know, still 25 years later, they are still on top of their game,
Mm,
great musicians. So it was also a big part of inspiration joining that club, or what do you say,
yeah, yeah, sure.
conservatory was kind of a club, but it's and that's where I wanted to. Everybody was facing their heads towards New York, and I was more like interested what's going on in Europe, and what's happening in Paris? Okay, let me check it out. So I decided to take a period of my life in Paris.
Really? I didn't know that. Huh?
So I went down there and I lived down there for I think I lived there three months. And of course I had to contact Marc Ducret because I was also a fan of his playing, you know. So I remember setting up several duo
Wow, beautiful.
session with Marc, and then at some point Ludas Mutskunas he joined me down there for a few weeks, and he joined and that was his way into playing with Marc Ducret. There was also those weeks in Paris with me, and you know there was something very beautiful connection with this with Ludas and Marc.
Yeah, yeah, amazing, amazing trio, man.
Yeah. So you know that one thing led to another, and then I made this band with Ludas Muskunas called Toxicum,
Mm-hmm.
which we made an album in 2003, which also featured Marc Ducret.
Yeah, yeah, that one I have. Yeah, that's
That still, I think, you know, there's some albums you go back and you listen to them and you find them, oh, they couldn't kind of keep the how do you say, they couldn't keep the time. They kind of do you know what I mean? I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to.
But that one is so strong, man.
Yeah, I like that album. You know,
It's really
I still
modern
like
now.
that.
Like
Yeah,
it's
it has something, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, beautiful.
So yeah. So but that was the way into Marc Ducret.
Mm.
He's a strong player,
Oh man, he's like one of the most underrated guitarists, I think, in the
right?
musicians. We know him obviously, but
Yeah. He's like a musician's musician, right?
yeah, he's like Ben Wonder in New York, let's say.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He's amazing too.
kind of this vibe. Not like people should know about him, but like yeah,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know. And I mentioned Triple Point also before, and you mentioned New York musicians, and in that case, you also connected with some New York guys, like Ellery is there and Ray Anderson. Like,
Yeah.
what's your story with New York? Did you ever go there as well, and or?
I mean, I went there for those recordings
Mm,
with Ellery Eskelin,
yeah.
also with Ray Anderson. Um, of course, there's also as a jazz musician, of course, there is this kind of um, respect, or you know, you would like to try and do something also in New York because
Mm,
it's like the whole romantic idea of it. So, but then again, it had to, from my point of view, I had to find the right connection with my own musicality. And when I heard Ellery Eskelin's trio albums with Jim Black
oh yeah.
and Andrea Parkins, I kind of knew that this guy is something really special. Ellery Eskelin, he is a fantastic musician, right? And
Monster Sound, yeah, such a player, man. Yeah.
yeah, and so I just figured I would like to see if I could, you know, at some point do some duo recordings with him, because the reason why I'm doing all these duos as I did on Triple Point is because it was also a process for me creating my own voice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How can I create something interesting on the drums together with such a strong voice as Marc Ducret, as Ray Anderson, as Ellery Eskelin? It's like trying to can I come up with something interesting in the combination with those strong players? And that was my kind of my goal to
Mm.
set up something, some recordings in New York with Ellery, and then we also did some trio recordings with the sousaphone player I brought from Copenhagen
Mm. I
to
have to
get
find
that
those.
trio sound. They are also on Triple Point.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. But really,
Yeah, it's Ellery Eskelin and Jakob Munk
oh
on
shit, I have to
sousaphone.
recheck that. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
and
recheck that.
also trio with Ray Anderson and Jakob Munk.
Yeah.
We play this Ornette Coleman tune called Una Muy Bonita
Oh yeah,
from.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's a nice one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was fun to do that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you connected like with musicians who are slightly under the radar, but so strong, like you said, Ducre and Ellery and
Yeah,
monster players, man. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to, you know, this. It's. it's interesting to find those players who really speak to you, right?
Yeah,
That's the same feeling I have with Frederik Lundin and Carsten Dahl here in
what you
Copenhagen.
said, yeah.
You know, they are not big names on the world jazz scene, but they are so strong players. You know, in my book, they are like world class, you know. So
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You released those recordings on Ilk Music, right?
yeah,
Speaking of records and albums, and
yeah.
what's the story behind Ilk? Because you are one of the co-founders, right? Or like, how did you guys decide to do that? And I think it's such a strong representative of the Danish scene, I'll put it like that, or Copenhagen,
Nice.
the last 20 years. I mean, it's like
Okay.
incredible music there. Like, what's the story behind Ilk?
Yeah, that you know, when you say that, it really makes me happy because
Yeah, it's man, it's like,
that's good to hear. I'm really happy to hear that from a person from outside Denmark. So that means,
Slovenia, yeah.
yeah, but you know, it means a lot to me, you know, because um, back in 2002, I was about to do this album with the Ludas and Marc Ducret and the Toxicum album,
Yeah.
and there was no really record company that I could see fit that kind of music. I had no idea where should I release this music. You know, there was the major label for jazz in Denmark at that time called Stunt Records,
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
and they were more into more how do you say, more outgoing, not so artsy
Yeah.
music, if you can label it like that. So I just said, okay, what the hell? We are so many strong young musicians here, like you mentioned before, like Jakob
Yeah.
Anderskov, Kristen, Søren Kjærgaard, yeah, Mark Solborg was also part, Jeppe
Oh yeah,
Skov.
exactly.
So so it was actually me who I remember calling Jakob Anderskov in the very beginning. So hey, I have this idea for I think we should do something together, all of us. So we set up a meeting at the Danish Jazz Federation, and we had a meeting like 10 young musicians. Niklas Knudsen was also part of it from Electric, and Christian Osko, Jakob Anderskov, these guys. And that's when it started. It just grew and developed from there, actually. And then now it's like almost 25 years.
And still functioning. I mean, you guys are still, wow,
Very
beautiful,
still
man.
functioning and still. I mean, in the beginning, I was kind of the primus motor on it, like
Yeah.
the driving force.
Yeah.
But have to admit that faded a lot during the last 10, 15 years. But for the beginning, I was the one pushing, and then somebody else took over, and then somebody new took over. So it's the reason why it's continuing to be such a great place is there's always new people coming in,
Yeah,
and
that's so important.
yeah. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
really
such a strong collective, I think. I mean, I don't think it exists. It's not so many labels or, you know, clubs, I'll put it like that, anywhere in the world, actually, that musicians get together and they're like, shit, okay,
no.
let's do this. So,
I think there was a thing in France called Yolk.
oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
You
In
remember that?
Portugal, they had in Portugal they had a thing as well. How is it called? Tone of a Pitch record, I think. I think
Yeah,
it's called that
yeah, I
one.
heard of that too.
Yeah, so
And in
there are
also
some.
in the early, also 20 years ago, they had Fiasco Records in Finland, in Helsinki.
Ah, really? Okay.
But it never really developed the way Ilk did here in Copenhagen. But there was some tendencies to do stuff like that in other countries as well.
Yeah, it's so important, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Usually, like musicians are always, at least in Slovenia, you know,
Mm.
there's lots of envy and
Oh yeah, yeah.
like, oh shit, man, this guy's playing with that, fuck that, you know, like. And it's
Yeah.
so nice to see that you guys actually connected, that it's the other way that can work. Okay, let's help each other in a way, and that's important.
I
Yeah,
think that's so beautiful, you know, because there's so much going on like that. What you say, that so much envy and
yeah,
but we have to stick together because we love the same music.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Ilken, you know, we started this talk with Ibrahim Electric, and I mentioned that record with Ray Anderson, like, you know, those tunes, Fella, and
Yeah.
being a guitarist, I love Niklas's playing as well. Like, how did you guys decide to do that band? Also, it's again, you would say it's like a typical jazz lineup, but you guys don't make it typical at
Oh.
all. Like, how did you decide to form that band actually? And
It was Jeppe, the Hammond organ player, and we were playing in another band together. And I remember at some point, I was thinking the other band we played was more traditional kind of Hammond jazz, with saxophone and guitar, and it was a little bit more mainstream in some ways. And I always felt that, at that point in my life, I was hanging out in the apartment of Mikko Innanen in Copenhagen, and he told me, "Hey, did you ever hear the Tony Williams Lifetime, the album called Emergency with John McLaughlin and Larry Young?"
Larry Young, yeah.
And I never heard that, and he just put it on. That was one of those moments.
Yeah, we
it was
need
like
those.
the meeting of jazz and Jimi Hendrix in some ways, and there was just that feeling in my mind of hearing something for the first time, which is something I would like to do. I would like to make this sound. So immediately I had a feeling that this kind of guitar playing in Copenhagen, Niklas Knudsen, he would be really strong, because first of all, he has this kind of a he knows everything about the jazz tradition back then. At least, he had his own bands with Adam Nussbaum, and
Yeah, I know those. Yeah.
so he's a strong player, and he has such good time, Niklas. And I knew that he also had the interest in Jimi Hendrix, and so I set up a jam session with Jeppe and Niklas. And for the first, the first hit, the first minute, there was this feeling of coming home.
Yeah.
So weird. It was so strong from the first minute. We were playing. We were both playing Afrobeat and surf music and funk and
Yeah.
jazz, but it just felt very easy with these two because they are so good musicians, and we just felt that unity for the first moment. Was yeah, and we still like to play with each other very much, so it's very strong.
So when you're coming to Maribor, are you gonna play new music or
I think we always play a mix of the old stuff and new. Yeah.
Fantastic, beautiful. Like, but you're still in trio, right?
Yeah, still trio.
Yeah,
but we still. I hope we actually go to the studio next week.
Oh, fantastic, man. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe, who knows if we have something new stuff in Maribor. I don't know.
Fantastic, man. Beautiful. How I wanted to ask you also this, like, how has when you started, like, let's say, more than 20 years ago, how has the scene changed in Copenhagen, or what's the situation now there, gigging wise, or you being a band leader? If you compare, like, is it harder or easier, especially after COVID, let's say, or?
No, it's like there's no doubt that it's becoming more and more difficult.
Harder, right? Yeah, the same everywhere. Yeah.
As from me personally, I don't know what happened, because it changed after COVID. It really did. I don't know what, but it seems like the possibilities narrowed down. And maybe it's just so simple that some clubs just closed, or some festival just closed. I guess that's it. I mean, it seems like the whole world is like this.
Yeah.
And one more thing is that also that's one of the other things that's making it difficult with the whole streaming. The whole streaming thing is kind of, in my perspective, this is just my opinion, but I have a feeling that it's sort of trying to make jazz musicians play more understandable music.
Yeah.
Going more into something that it seems like less and less musicians are focused on art, and more creating music that for the playlists, or
True.
for the mainstream jazz clubs, because there's more and more jazz clubs that's more and more focused on mainstream. So actually, the art of creating something new is kind of fading a little bit, as I see it.
No, I agree. Actually, I agree.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No.
Somebody would probably say that I'm wrong. That because they see it from a different perspective, but that's the way I feel it.
No, I agree. I mean, I met the other day with one organizer, promoter, and he had a sponsor with him.
Yeah.
And then so they do like 7 concerts a year, right? And so and then one or two of those concerts are like the music kind of that we do, let's say more creative, more.
Yeah.
And then the sponsor was like, "Yeah, man, I really hate that shit the other day. That creative. What was that? That was nothing." I was like, "Shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you what music,
Yeah.
we will do or something." So, and he was like, "Yeah, we should not do that." And so that's the mentality, of
Yeah.
people with money behind. So it's quite heavy to stay
Yeah.
to do what we do. So it's almost like becoming a hobby in a way, making albums and
Yeah.
just.
I mean, for me, at least, still, I'm still selling some albums to the concerts.
Yeah. That's absolutely.
And it's also a few actually albums through Bandcamp.
Yeah.
That's as long as that still has a life, then
And we're okay.
kind of happy, because I still have this feeling that it still makes sense.
Yep.
And
I agree.
but the moment that it doesn't make any sense, that is kind of if my basement is filled with old records, then maybe at that point of in life it's about to stop. I don't know, because it's difficult, because it's been such a big part of my life.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. My basement. My wife said the other day, like, there's so many CDs in the basement, from 25 years ago. I was like, shit, yeah. And then I made this action now on Bandcamp, like selling old stuff for really cheap, right? And I got so much response, man.
Okay, really?
Yeah, like €1, one CD for €3. I know it's zero.
Yeah.
But, I got rid of like, 200 CDs. So
That's nice.
I was like, to see the response of people, I was like, man, sure, okay, that's nice. And so.
Yeah, there is a nice community in Bandcamp.
It is. Yeah, I love it. I love the function of it. So that's nice, yeah. But Stefan, not to take too much of your time, I wanted to ask you what's still in the schedule for you. Speaking of albums and new stuff,
Yeah.
for this year, you're coming to Maribor. You said you're recording Ibrahim Electric soon, and what's still out there? Is some new stuff coming out as well? Like,
Yes, I do have a small tour coming up in April with my trio with Frederik Lundin and Carsten. We're going to Oslo and Stockholm,
oh, beautiful.
and Water Jazz in Norway, and then in Copenhagen. And then it's like small tour, but nice venues. Speaking of the scene and how the scene is, there's still some very nice venues in around, and I'm trying to aim for those. Instead of playing many gigs, I prefer to play a smaller amount of concerts, and then but in nice venues.
I agree. Yeah.
It's difficult, but it's that's the way I prefer to do it for now. And then I'm going to do an album with that trio with which is actually an album recorded for Alex Reel. Because half a year ago I found a list of in Alex's own handwriting where he wrote a list of his favorite songs.
Oh wow, that's amazing, man. Okay.
So that's so nice that I had to go into the studio and record those songs. So it's like
standards, or
sorry,
it's standards.
It's standards. Yeah, it's
Wow, okay, nice.
It's like Moon River.
Wow, okay.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Danny Boy. Yeah, so for me it's a very emotional thing to do that because it's like it's from the heart to Alex, my godfather, and his favorite songs, and then the way Frederik and Carsten and I are playing it is very free and abstract.
Really curious. Wow.
So it's like, it's our own voices playing directly to Alex. I just love that, and that's being released on vinyl and CD in April,
Wow, fantastic.
and then on streaming in June. I think in June, yeah. And speaking of streaming, I think that's going to be the last album I will do on streaming.
Streaming, yeah. Yeah. Well, as long as you put it on Bandcamp so that people can find it, I think that's
Yeah, it will be on Bandcamp for sure.
yeah, fantastic. I'm really curious how you sound on Moon River and Danny Boy,
Yeah.
you guys like.
Yeah,
Beautiful, man.
I can send you I will send you an MP3 just
Yeah,
for you.
please. I'd love to hear that, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
send it.
Super. Fantastic. Otherwise, when you're in Maribor, drop me on Facebook. We'll
For
meet for a
sure.
beer or something with the guys.
Definitely.
I'll try to check you out. So, super,
I
man.
hope for now it's still not confirmed yet, because they invited us for the 25th, and we are not able to come on the 25th, but 26th is. I cross my finger that it's
You're
gonna
talking
work.
with David, right?
It's not me. It's like we have this Norwegian promoter
Okay.
who's in contact with the festival.
Yeah, the
So
promoter is a friend of mine for the last 25 years, so I know who they are talking with. That's why I'm asking.
okay.
Yeah,
So
beautiful. I'll drop him
it's
a
out of
line.
our hands somehow,
Yeah, absolutely. But
but I'm
beautiful.
looking forward. I will definitely write you, and we should have a
Yeah,
bit, and you can
definitely.
show me Maribor.
Definitely. It's a nice town. You'll like it, so
Good.
super, man. Thanks so much again, man. I'll leave you a nice morning on Wednesday, and I'll let you know when this is out. I'll send you a link and everything, and we can share it.
Okay, Samo. Hey,
Super.
nice talking to you.
You too. Okay, Stefan. Stay.
Dr. Jazz.